And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was dead. There was no bloody life there whatsoever. Dead, unbelievably dead. Took me aback dead. And next to it was this picture, which my brother had blown up, which was going to go and be used in the funeral, which it was. And there was my mother's absolutely dead body, and there was this picture of my mother absolutely full of life, full of energy, full of sparkle. And I stood there and I could see in those two images what life is, what consciousness is. Because that was alive, that was dead. We are consciousness. And we've got confused. And in identifying who we are with the body, we've seriously buggered up our sense of perception and therefore our ability to be free. The energy that or the reality that we are experiencing, that we apparently see with our eyes, is just a frequency range. That's all it is, and it is minute. What we call visible light. According to current mainstream science, the electromagnetic spectrum is 0.005% of the energy known to exist in the universe. 0.005%. And visible light, which is the only frequency that our eyes can decode into this reality, is a fraction of the 0.005%. We are basically visually blind in terms of what exists in the same space that we're experiencing. It's just a television, holographic television station we're experiencing. Tiny frequency range, visible light that we are experiencing. And what we are is, at this level, receiver transmitters of information. And the range of frequencies that we are accessing decides the range and perception and awareness of reality that we experience. So the more you can close down the range of frequencies that we are accessing, the more you close down the perception and the sense of infinity of the people you are targeting. The body is a biological computer. Biological in the sense that, unlike a desktop computer, it has the ability to an extent to think for itself and work things out for itself. That's what we call evolution on a physical level. The computer is constantly receiving information, vibrational information from its environment, and it is reacting to that. It does it all the time. If we go into a place where it's cold, it will react to that. Where it's hot, it will react to that. And it's the same with things like animals, that over a period of time, their environment changes. That information is being received by the computer and analyzed by the computer, and it's making changes. And if those environmental changes, habitat changes, happen slow enough, that is why you see animal bodies evolve to fit the new environment. But if it happens really quick, we call it extinction because it can't change fast enough. It's a computer working. And we are receiving vibrational information which we're decoding into this reality. Get into that more shortly. We are interacting with this infinite consciousness, but how much of that consciousness are we reacting to with? That depends on the range of frequencies we're accessing. And we're a bit like a Dodgem car in a fairground. You know, you've got the Dodgem car, it's going round, it's doing everything, lots of energy, and then once the power is switched off, it's, hey, my car's gone dead. Yes, because its energy source is gone, and that's what we call death. Not death at all. It's the movement of consciousness out of this reality. That's all. What we call near-death experiences have enormous amounts of common stories about what they experienced when they left the body and then were returned when their body was revived. Stories that support massively what I'm saying here today about the fact that we are consciousness and the body's just a vehicle. They talk about going through the tunnel into another reality, and how limitation disappears, how the emotional intensity disappears, because a lot of that emotional intensity, if not all of it, is body consciousness. This is what one near-death experiencer said about what he experienced when he left the body. Everything from the beginning, my birth, my ancestors, my children, my wife, everything comes together simultaneously. I saw everything about me and about everyone who was around me. I saw everything they were thinking now, what they thought then, what was happening before, what was happening now. There is no time, there is no sequence of events, no such thing as limitation, of distance, of period, of time, of place. I could be anywhere I wanted to be simultaneously. That is who we are, and we need to remember it so we can sort this place out. What do you mean there's no time? That's stupid. Oh, right. So, manufactured time is on my wrist. If I cross a certain invisible point in the world, I enter yesterday or tomorrow. Ridiculous. It's a decoding illusion, time and sequence. As William Blake said, to see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Everything is everything else happening at the same time. It's a decoding process. If you are watching a movie on a DVD on the telly, where you are in the movie you think is the present. The scenes in the movie you just left or watched is your past, and the scenes you've not seen yet are your future. But all of them still exist in the same moment that you're experiencing what you perceive to be the present. And if you run back, bingo, you're in the past. You run forward, you're in the future. No, you're in the same now. As H.M. Tomlinson said, we see things not as they are, but as we are, because as we are decides how we decode reality. And this conspiracy might play out as banking scams and political scams. Yes, it does, and we should know that. But this conspiracy is about manipulating our sense of who we are so we decode what they want us to experience. And what that perception is one of division, apartness, because that creates the fault lines through which they can divide and rule us when we are oneness, all connected at different points of perception and observation within that whole, therefore expressing glorious diversity, but still connected. And that's the point, you know. I understand it. When you're talking about oneness, people think that it's like everyone therefore becomes one clone blob, like this. I'm oneness and also am I, oh yeah. What is oneness? What is this oneness I'm talking about? It is all possibility. That's what it is. It is everything that has, is, or ever will be there to be experienced. So there is no contradiction between being in a point of awareness of the connectedness of everything and at the same time celebrating and expressing your glorious diversity and uniqueness of perception. Indeed, the uniqueness of our expressing of our lives is honoring, if you like, the oneness that is all, because it's all possibility. What you get, ironically, when you disconnect from that into that, is you get a situation where you do get people who are, you know, I'm not oneness, neither am I, I'm not oneness. You do get uniformity, because people start operating on the same tiny range of frequencies, and therefore they start acting and seeing the world the same. Everyone thinks the same, everyone's tuning to the same bloody station. That's why we think when we experience the world. And understandably, it seems like that.